Hello everyone, welcome to Finance Focus. Today we will talk about how an Arctic route could rewire global trade and economies. Look at a map of the Arctic. For centuries, it has been a vast, white expanse at the top of the globe, a symbol of isolation and extreme cold. Now imagine a new blue line sketched across it, connecting the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean. This is not a fantasy. This is the Northern Sea Route, a shipping lane once locked in ice, now opening due to a warming planet. This route matters because it promises to fundamentally alter global trade, redrawing the lines of economic influence and strategic power. A journey from Shanghai to Hamburg via this Arctic route can be about 40% shorter than through the Suez Canal, a saving of thousands of nautical miles and weeks at sea. This is more than a shortcut. It is a potential revolution. Its opening forces new questions. Who will control this artery? How will resources be managed? What will be the price for the fragile ecosystem and indigenous communities? The time to pay attention is now. The reason this new route is opening can be explained with one simple, undeniable fact. The Earth is getting warmer. The Arctic is warming 2 to 3 times faster than the global average. This phenomenon, known as Arctic amplification, is the engine driving the Great Melt. White ice reflects energy. Dark water absorbs it, warms, and melts even more ice. A vicious cycle. For centuries, thick multi-year ice blocked regular shipping. Today, extent and thickness have plunged. Each summer, the ice retreats further. Each winter, it returns younger, thinner, more fragile. Result, a longer season of navigable, low ice conditions, especially along Russia's northern coast. This trend is documented by satellites and on-the-ground measurements since the late 1970s. The Northern Sea Road is opening faster than the Northwest Passage, aided by warmer Siberian river outflows that fracture coastal ice. It is not year-round and still needs icebreakers, but the window widens every year. By mid-century, late summer Arctic could be nearly ice-free, making unescorted voyages common. The barrier isolating the Arctic is dissolving, transforming theory into practice for shippers, developers, and militaries. The most immediate and tangible impact is economic. For shipping, time is money, and this route saves time. Traditional Malacca-Suez is about 11,000 nautical miles and 40 days. Via the Arctic, as short as 6,500 nautical miles, 10 to 15 days faster. Less distance means massive fuel savings, the largest operating cost line item. Ripple effects, lower crew costs, reduced premiums, faster delivery, huge for high-value, time-sensitive cargo. Suez fees can be avoided, though new Arctic transit fees may apply. Net, the incentive is powerful. A single large ship can save hundreds of thousands in fuel one way. Beyond savings, new ports and service hubs could rise along Russia and North America's Arctic shorelines. Deepwater terminals would refuel, resupply, and export local oil, gas, and minerals, bringing jobs to remote regions. But the season is still variable. Ice-class vessels and pricey escorts cut into savings. Insurance is higher. Search and rescue, ports, and safety infrastructure require colossal investment. As the navigable season extends, the financial calculus tilts north, reshaping global trade flows. The opening of the Arctic is about more than money and trade. It is fundamentally about power and security, you know. As ice recedes, a new strategic arena appears where major powers intersect and collide. Russia, with the longest Arctic coast, treats the Northern Sea Route as vital interest. Backed by nuclear icebreakers and revived bases, it requires permissions, escorts, and asserts control, signaling a gatekeeper role. The United States and allies push back, arguing much of the route is international waters under global law. Exercises and operations challenge expansive claims, creating a persistent standoff. Bases, submarines, and ice-capable fleets are turning a quiet sea into a potential flashpoint. China declares itself a near-Arctic state, investing in a polar Silk Road to diversify beyond Malacca and Suez. It forges partnerships in resources, research, and infrastructure, raising suspicions about future influence. Smaller Arctic nations may be squeezed between Russia, the United States, and China, forced into hard choices. Melting ice is not just a lane, it is a new northern front where rules are still being written. Outcomes remain uncertain. Economic and geopolitical stakes cannot be separated from environmental risk and human impact. Harsh, shifting conditions magnify accident risk. A major spill here would be catastrophic and nearly impossible to clean, with long-lasting damage. Noise disrupts whales, seals, and walruses that rely on sound to navigate, hunt, and find mates. Ballast water can introduce invasive species that upend local food webs. Heavy fuel oil emits black carbon, darkening snow and accelerating the very melt that opens the route. This degradation threatens indigenous lifeways, Inuit, Sami, Nenets, whose culture and subsistence depend on ice and migrations. Unstable travel, driven off wildlife, and pollution imperil safety and food security. Too often their knowledge is marginalized in high-level talks on trade and military strategy. Thawing permafrost and construction damage homes and infrastructure. The Arctic is not empty, it is a homeland. Any plan must center their rights and wisdom, or the first to pay will be those who did the least to cause this crisis. The transformation creates distinct winners and losers. Geography and readiness matter. Chief among winners, Russia, collecting transit fees, growing ports, exporting gas and minerals more easily to Asia. Shippers investing in ice-class fleets can boost margins with faster Asia-Europe transits. Energy and mining gain access to untapped oil, gas, and critical minerals. Export economies like China and South Korea benefit from speed, cost cuts, and resilience to choke point disruptions. Losers include choke point economies, Egypt and Panama, if traffic diverts and fees fall. Major transshipment hubs may see volumes shift, reshuffling port hierarchies. Greatest losses: the Arctic environment and communities facing pollution, habitat loss, and irreversible scars. Ice-dependent species face new pressures. Indigenous livelihoods and identities are at risk. Benefits tend to flow to powerful states and firms, while the steepest costs fall on the most vulnerable. A stark inequity: many harmed did least to drive the warming. Winners and losers are being redrawn in real time. The opening of the Arctic demands foresight, restraint, and above all, cooperation. Letting competition and conflict run wild would be a historic failure. International rules, building on the law of the sea, must be strengthened for Arctic specifics. Set common standards for ship construction, environmental protection, and navigation safety. Scale up search and rescue, share surveillance, coordinate operations, pre-position emergency gear. Practical cooperation builds trust amid rivalry and protects lives. Indigenous peoples are rights holders. Free, prior, and informed consent and shared benefits must be non-negotiable. Their knowledge is invaluable for safe, sustainable practice. Set hard limits in sensitive zones and invest in cleaner technologies. Look again. That blue line is more than a route. It will test our ability to manage change peacefully and responsibly, together, or be fractured by it, leaving conflict and a broken, polluted frontier. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing videos.